Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping into the absolutely fascinating world of invisible forces. We're going to explore the real science behind electromagnetic fields and their pretty surprising connection to, you guessed it, our most vital organ, the heart. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? But this is a very serious question. I mean, think about it. We're surrounded by these fields every single day, from the Earth itself to every device we own. So could they be interacting with our bodies in ways we're only just beginning to understand?
And look, this isn't just a fun little science curiosity. This question really matters. Why? Because as our source material points out, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in North America. That's a huge deal. And it's exactly why the search for new, non-invasive ways to help the heart is one of the most important goals in medicine today.
So, before we could even talk about how an external field might affect the heart, we have to get our heads around a fundamental and honestly pretty cool fact about the heart itself. It is not just a simple mechanical pump. It's an electrical powerhouse.
That's right. Every single time your heart beats, it creates an electrical signal. A signal so distinct and so powerful that it actually generates its own magnetic field, one that we can literally measure from outside the body. And this, right here, this is the key to why the heart might be so uniquely sensitive to other electromagnetic forces around it.
All right, so how does this interaction actually happen? Well, it's not magic, it's physics. It's a process scientists have been digging into for decades, and it all starts with one key concept. And that concept is called coupling. It just means that an external field doesn't just pass through you like a ghost. Instead, it directly interacts, it couples with your cells and tissues. This is the fundamental mechanism, the handshake between the outside force and your body that we're talking about today.
Now this slide is maybe the most important one to understand. It is so critical to get this. Not all EMFs are created equal, not even close. Saying they're all the same is like saying a gentle whisper and a loud scream are both just sound. Low-frequency fields are slow. They can penetrate deep into tissue and kind of talk to our cells in a language they understand, influencing how they work. But high-frequency fields, like microwaves, they vibrate so incredibly fast that they just shake up water molecules. And what happens when you do that? You get heat. They're two completely different biological effects.
So, what does the actual lab research say about all this? Well, animal studies have really laid the groundwork for understanding how these interactions can play out in a living being, and sometimes the results are really surprising. One of the most amazing concepts is something called preconditioning. Seriously, think of it like a vaccine for stress. The idea is you expose heart cells to a small, controlled stressor, like a very specific low-energy EMF. In response, the cells go on high alert and start building up their defenses by creating these protective proteins. So now, they're stronger. They're more resilient when a major stress comes along later, like surgery or even a heart attack. How incredible is that?
And you can see how specific this gets in the data. Just look at the difference between those first two rows. A sinusoidal field, that's a smooth, continuous wave like the electricity in your walls, it caused some pretty big changes in the hearts of dogs. But a pulsed field, that had similar but much less aggressive effects. Even ultra-high frequency fields were shown to just kind of take the edge off a stress reaction. The lesson here? The type of signal, the pattern, the frequency, it's everything.
Okay, so this is the part where your mind probably goes, wait a minute, what about my cell phone? What about the power lines down the street? And that is the big question, right? How do all these everyday fields fit into the picture? The reality is, we are swimming in a sea of EMFs all the time. You've got geomagnetic storms from the sun, power lines, electric trains, all of our appliances at home, our phones, and yeah, some studies have found correlations. For instance, some research noted that big solar storms, which change the Earth's magnetic field, seem to make existing heart conditions worse for some people. But this is where we have to be so careful and so precise. And I love this quote from Dr. William Paluch, the author of our source material. He says, lumping all these things together, the high-frequency radiation from a phone with the low-frequency therapeutic fields is like indiscriminately comparing apples and oranges. They're just not the same. They have fundamentally different effects on our biology.
And that distinction, that apples and oranges idea, is so crucial. Because once you get that, it opens the door to a whole new way of thinking. It's not about being afraid of these forces. It's about learning how to use them to harness specific controlled fields for our health.
And this is where it gets really exciting. Because when the right kind of field is used, we're talking specifically about pulsed electromagnetic fields, or PEMFs, the benefits seen in human studies are pretty remarkable. We're talking about things like lowering the heart's workload, reducing the risk of blood clots, helping people heal faster after surgery, and even firing up the body's own antioxidant systems.
And just look at these numbers. This is from a proper placebo-controlled trial on patients with heart disease. An incredible 84% of the patients who got the real therapy saw their capacity for physical work, their ability to exercise, go up. In the placebo group, things actually got a little worse. That's a huge real-world impact.
But, and please, this is the most important takeaway from all of this, this is not something you should mess around with at home. The source material is crystal clear on this point. To get good results, you have to use the right protocol under the guidance of a knowledgeable professional. This is definitely not DIY therapy.
So what we're left with is this incredible vision of the future. We've gone from being kind of wary of these invisible forces to learning how to tune them with precision for our own benefit. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? As we get better and better at this, what's next for non-invasive medicine? What other conditions could one day be treated not with a pill, but with the perfect pulse of energy?